President Joe Biden's $3.8 million vacation home in Delaware has a 98% chance of being flooded in the next 5 years due to climate change increasing sea levels. The 6-bedroom house is located in Rehoboth and sits less than a mile from the shoreline, which places it within FEMA's special flood hazard area, the zone that would be overrun with water during a 100-year flood, CNN reports. The Mid-Atlantic state has experienced a sea level rise of more than a foot in the past century. But the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, warns it will continue to rise over the next century and flowing water will eventually overtake its coastal areas. Although climate change plays a major role, the land Biden's home sits on is naturally sinking and puts this region at an even higher risk of rising sea levels, and levels are increasing faster than anywhere else in the world. Approximately 5.4%, or 100 square miles, of Delaware resides in the 100-year floodplain, and by 2050, this landmass is predicted to increase to 7.1% or 130 square miles due to rising sea levels, according to states at risk. But Biden's neighborhood sits right in the danger zone where sea levels are expected to rise 1.5 feet by 2040 and then 5 feet by 2120. The million-dollar vacation home appears to have been to overcome flooding, as the living quarters are 10 feet off ground because they sit above high-ceiling garages. And this seems to be the running design for most newer homes around the neighborhood. Rehoboth Beach is part of Sussex County, which is the third with the newest homes built in the highest risk area for future flooding out of all U.S. coastal counties. Regardless of the risk, but it has since gone up in value to $3.8 million. The last storm to cause major destruction in 1962 ruined 2,000 homes near the coastline of Rehoboth Beach to Fenwick Island. About $500 million worth of new homes have been built in the area since 2010. Biden's was constructed in 2017, Delaware Online reports. The president purchased the home for $2.47 million. The area where the president's home sits is one of multiple coastal regions that are likely to be underwater and uninhabitable by the middle of this century, putting up to $35 billion worth of real estate at risk, according to maps produced by the research nonprofit Climate Central. West Hampton Beach in New York, where the median home price is $1.8 million and people like Eli Manning and Adam Sandler are residents, would be inundated even if sea levels rise by just 5 feet. In Los Angeles, a 5-foot increase would completely flood the Seal Beach National Wildlife Refuge, which is a 965-acre area that's a key stopover and wintering habitat for thousands of birds that migrate up and down the Pacific Flyway each year.